Go online and you can see loads of videos which show exactly what happens if you get a tyre blowout on a caravan or a motorhome. And it's not a pretty sight, because a blowout on a caravan can be an awful lot worse than one on a car. This is why. Because the plastic bodywork on a caravan is a lot more susceptible to damage than the steel wheel arch of a car would be. Imagine above here you've got a fridge, on the other side above the wheel you've got a heater. If tyre shreds breaks through the plastic, it could wreck everything up there, and in fact it can lead to a huge amount of destruction inside the van. Could be a total write-off. Having advanced warning of a problem with your tyres is obviously a big advantage and could lead to you avoiding a major catastrophe. And that's why new cars are all fitted with tyre pressure monitoring systems, TPMS for short. Some caravans are fitted with the sensors required as well, but maybe not the control units in the towing vehicle. But if your caravan doesn't have sensors fitted, there are plenty of aftermarket systems available. And someone who knows a little bit about them is Simon Barlow from Caravan Chronicles. Come on, Simon.
I am there.
Hello. Right, now you have had some experience of aftermarket TPMS products, haven't you?
Yeah, for the blog we've tried one or two different variants. They've been good, but I've always thought they've had limitations. One of the big issues is you get a lot of clutter on your dashboard. By the time you've got a mobile phone stuck up there, a GPS stuck up there, maybe your tyre monitoring system stuck up there, and then you've got to find somewhere to plug it in. It's great when it's a novelty. You don't mind plugging it in, yeah, looking at it, and then you pull up at a car park somewhere. You don't want to really leave it on view, so you take it out of the holder, you tuck it in the glove box under the seat, you come to get in your car, you've then got to get it out.
It's all a bit of a hassle.
It's too much.
But what about actually installing a system?
Installing seems to be fairly easy, but some of them it's a real pain to pair them.
Because you have to pair the sensors in the wheel.
Each wheel has to be done individually.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to basically let the unit know which wheel is where on the car, which sensor is on which wheel, and then when you hitch the caravan up, you've then got to tell the unit you've now got a caravan and it's got 2 more sensors.
What if you're not towing the caravan?
You've then got to tell the unit you're not towing a caravan because it keeps looking for those sensors and beeping at you to say I can't find them.
So you would agree with me that TPMS is a good idea, but it's a little bit too much hassle perhaps for some people?
Sometimes it's information overload, and sometimes it's people can't be bothered.
Okay, well I've got something that I think you're going to be interested in. I'm just going to remove this animal from my glasses. Bear with me. Ooh. Right, now look Simon, what I've got here is what I think is the nearest you can get to a factory fitted tyre pressure monitoring system. It's very easy to use and it's unbelievably easy to fit, which means I think that you could probably do it. Do you want to have a go?
If it's easy to fit, we'll give it a go.
So, what we have here is a Fit2Go tyre pressure monitoring system. What's in the box? Oh, you've got the instructions. They're quite good actually, you like them.
Do I need those?
I think you... obviously not. And then we've got 4 sensors. We've got a little spanner.
Yeah.
Underneath the sensors we have locking nuts.
Yeah.
And here we have the heart of the machine, which is the controller and the display, which actually tells you if anything's going wrong.
And no wires.
Driving. Oh, you've noticed, no wires, no power supply, nothing. What I have here is a pair of extra sensors, and obviously that's for the car.
Yeah.
These are for the caravan. You can actually run up to 8 sensors off this system.
Ideal for twin axle caravans.
Exactly. Or bigger motorhomes. So, Simon, you got the stuff. you've thrown the instructions away. I'm going to tell you one thing: you've got to make sure that the pressure in the tyre is what it should be. So that's the first thing to do, and off you go.
I've got my pressure gauge here.
And you do know what the pressure should be?
I've got a good idea.
Oh, good.
855.
Right, off you go.
Okay, the first thing to do is check the tyre pressure. We'll remove the cap. And remember, you need to keep this safe, because you're going to put this away, you're not going to use it once the tyre pressure monitor's on. Let's check our tyre pressure. Turn the gauge on. 55. That's, in my case, don't forget your caravans will be different. And these are the two sensors for the Caravan. So we'll take a sensor and the little brass nut. We put the brass nut onto the valve stem and run it all the way down. We then take the tyre sensor and tighten that on, and you will hear a hiss as some air escapes. Just finger tight, doesn't need to be too tight. And then they provided a rather nifty little spanner. So we run the brass nut back up to the sensor, put the spanner on the back, and just slowly tighten the nut onto the back of the sensor, and that's it, it's locked. I don't know whether you saw the red LED flashing when I tightened the sensor on, but apparently that says it's working. I may just have to read those instructions after all.
Well, that's it, that's the first one done. Was that easy or what?
Very easy.
That took you, what, a couple of minutes for the first one?
If that.
Well, let's do the other side, see how you get on there.
Okay. Okay, tie number 2. Put the valve cap somewhere safe. Check the pressure and run the little brass nuts all down the tyre stem. That's something you need to check. If the cap doesn't fit tightly on the stem, you can get some dirt, and that brass nut might not run all the way down. Put the pressure sensor on and run the little brass nut back up. And use the spanner just to tighten it up. Check it's secure. That's the other tie done. Andy, is it time to put the kettle on?
Simon, it's always time to put the kettle on, and
Let's
even
go.
maybe some bread in the toaster.
That sounds good. Let's go.
Well, that's an awful lot better tea and a couple of slices of toast. You can't go wrong. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Sue. Right, okay, so you put the sensors on the Caravan.
Yeah.
You've got this car, which has 4 wheels. It's a comparatively modern vehicle, but it's classed as a commercial vehicle, isn't it? So it doesn't have TPMS on it.
That's right. Not all commercial vehicles have it fitted as standard.
Okay, well look, let's fix that right now. Your time starts now.
That's it. How did I do with the time, Andy?
Okay, that was precisely 1 minute 58 seconds.
That's good enough.
That's not bad. I think you've won some kind of prize, I don't know. But what we've got to do now is install the actual controller. So to do that we have to get inside the car.
At least it'll be a bit warmer.
So, now what I didn't mention...
Just one thing before we go any further.
Yes.
We've got to put that somewhere secure.
True.
Because if we haven't got it, we can't check the tyres. I'll put air in the tyres.
Oh, you're on the case, Simon. Thank goodness you're here.
I'd suggest putting that with your locking wheel nut somewhere safe in the vehicle.
And if you haven't got locking wheel nuts, then just put it in the glove box or somewhere.
Make sure it's somewhere where we know where it is.
Okay. If you do lose it, you can get spare ones, so
that's great.
Don't panic. Right, now then, I don't know if you've noticed, but this is very similar in size. In fact, it's identical in size to an old style tax disc, which gives you a clue as to where you really should install it. On the windscreen.
Yep.
Have you made up your mind where you want to put it?
I think on the right hand side, in the bottom corner. It's where it'll be visible for me. It's not in a position where it would obscure anything, and I think we should put it somewhere where the windscreen wipers clear the windscreen, just to make the best of that solar panel. Because
the whole thing, as you can see, there are no cables. There's not even an ability to connect a cable. You don't need one. It's got a built-in battery and a little solar panel. And in fact, you could keep this in a shed in the dark for 6 months and it would still wake up and work, because the whole system only works when the tyres are rotating. Pretty clever, eh?
It's good if you park in a garage overnight.
Exactly. Okay, to set the whole thing going, we have to press that switch with a pen. You got something? No,
I've got a pen.
I got a pen. Here, go on, you do it. Right, and now,
that it?
Well, let's have a look. We should have, no, you've got to press it until the light flashes. 3 seconds, I think. There you go. Right,
there we go.
It's activated. Okay, but before you actually install it, Simon, let's have a look at the indicators here that tell you what's going on.
To turn it on, we push and hold the button for 3 seconds. It beeps and you'll see that these have lit up. The first one is to tell you the power's on. The second one is the battery. The third is the tyre pressure, and the last one is the tyre temperature. It may be a bit hard to see them in this light, but trust me, they do light up. The next time you'll see them lit is probably only when there's a problem. Okay, so we've turned it on. I'll peel the very sticky I'll try to peel a very sticky label off, and we'll just offer it up to the windscreen. That's it. Simple.
Well, that's it, Simon. The installation is complete, and it took what, 5 minutes? Less than 5 minutes?
It really was easy.
And
I know I threw them away, but I didn't need them. It was that simple.
Really? Quite impressive. So you've got the controller and the display there. It's very discreet, isn't it? No one's going to look at it and say, whoa, I better nick that.
It's not obvious what it is at all, and I don't think it would be something that people would take a shine to.
It doesn't obscure your vision?
No, it doesn't obscure my vision at all.
And you don't actually have to do anything to start it up when you set off, switch it off when you reach the end of the journey?
No cables, no plugging in, no remember to take it out of its holder and hide it away when I park and put it back in its holder when I'm on a journey. It really is simple, and it's just as good, if not better, than a factory install system.
I'm glad we agree. Excellent. Is it time for more tea?
I think so. So,
now Simon, I know that you are a technically minded kind of a bloke, so I'm sure you've got a few questions about the Fit2Go TPMS.
well, there's a few things that do come to mind. What if I lose my spanner?
Oh, we can supply a new one.
That's all right. And if I change vehicles?
Oh, we can supply a new one.
That's all right.
Yeah, you can just ask us for a new adhesive pad, and we'll send you one free of charge.
I do like free.
If we're in a good mood, that is.
Okay, for caravanners, we buy the base unit, 4 sensors. Single axle caravan, we need a 2 sensor pack.
Yep.
Twin axle caravan, we need 2 of those.
Exactly.
That's easy then.
So there's a maximum of 8 wheels can be controlled by the system.
So as long as we've not got a triple axle caravan,
If you have, you're in trouble. Although you could have a matching pair of controllers, one either side, might look quite nice.
I do like matching pairs of things.
That's quite enough of that. One thing I've thought of, but I haven't actually mentioned to you, is the range in terms of distance. Because if you've got a long caravan and a long vehicle, then people worry that the sensor might not be able to transmit as far as the controller. But the reality is that in tests we found that 10 meters isn't a problem. We tend to say 7 meters, but that is being very pessimistic and would only really be the case if you had lots of things in the way between the sensor on the tyre and the controller in the vehicle. So anything under 10 meters is almost certainly going to be okay.
Well, this is one of the longer tow vehicles on the market, so I'll put that to the test.
Okay. What else would you like to know?
The sensors, how long do the batteries last?
Because they only come on, because the sensors only come on when the vehicle's actually in motion, this saves an enormous amount of battery, and you would expect the life of the battery to be between 3, 5, maybe 6 years, depending on how often you use the sensors. They are completely sealed and encapsulated, which means you can't actually change the batteries. You have to buy new sensors every 3, 5, 6 years. The reason for that is because if you've got a vehicle like this and you presumably are travelling through deep rivers and up ravines and across mountain ranges and
every
so forth,
day,
absolutely, it doesn't matter what conditions you find yourself in, the sensors are not going to be corroded or have water ingress or dirt getting into them. They're going to be completely fine whatever happens.
so we're safe in the jet wash.
You are indeed safe in jet washing. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the important.
Yeah. Actually, one thing we should talk about is the way that the controller indicates that there is a problem. So we've seen that there are 4 symbols. There's a power symbol for the controller, there's a battery, a low battery indicator for the sensors, and there's an indicator that tells you if the temperature on the tyres goes above 90 degrees centigrade, and of course the most important indicator perhaps is the one that tells you if there's a problem with the pressure in the tyres. There are 2 ways that it's triggered. One is if it drops more than 3% of the set pressure within 1 minute, which indicates a fast blowout happening, and also if the pressure drops below 25% or goes above 25% of the set pressure. Do you understand all that?
So for a typical car tyre, say 32 pounds per square inch, if it drops down to 26, that's going to trigger the alarm.
24 if you do
24.
Yeah. And this in fact is the same kind of warning that you would get on a factory fitted system. People think that, oh, 25%, why doesn't it just come on when it's dropped 2%? But that's just not the way it works. And on factory fitted systems, it's exactly the same.
Well, 2% change could be just the difference between sat in the sun and then cooling down at night.
That's what would happen when you're driving along, isn't it?
Yeah.
So do you reckon 25% is quite acceptable?
I would think so, yeah.
And there's one other thing, actually. This is one of my favourite bits. People say, well, when I need to check the pressure on my tyres, I've got to remove the sensors and remove the locking nut. Well, that's actually not a very big deal, is it? But if it is too big a deal for you, if you're really that sensitive, shortly we will be able to supply this. It's a sensor pressure checker, and it uses near field technology, near field communication. All you do, you get this thing. This is much bigger than it is in real life. You just hold it near the sensor and it will tell you not only the precise pressure in the tyre, but also tell you the state of the battery that's in the sensor. They're not available as we speak, but they will be available very shortly, and when I've got one, I'm going to send it to you.
Now that's useful. That is going to solve the issue of taking them off, checking your pressures, putting them back on.
It's just an easy way to check the pressure on your tyres.
Especially as a lot of people have to adjust the tyre pressures in the rear wheels between towing and running solo.
Absolutely. Is that it?
I think so.
Well, look, we've put sensors on the car, on the Caravan, we've put the controller in. I can take them all away again if you want, or you can hang on to them. What do you want to do?
I'd like to hang on to them because for the readers of my blog, I'd like to do a follow-up and let them know how I get on with it for the next 6 months.
Okay.
See if there's any problems.
I better start reading your blog then.
I thought you were a motorhome and not a caravanner.
Yeah, well, that's why I haven't read it yet. But I know better now, and I will start reading it. Cheers.
Cheers.